Two young lovers stand at the edge of a cemetery. Their hands are intertwined. Their eyes are filled with tears. They've made a decision. A terrible, irreversible decision. Because if they cannot be together in life, they will be together in death. The young man is known only as the hero's son, a veteran who fought alongside the legendary Bento Gonçalves during the Ragamuffin War. The woman is the daughter of the Barbosa family, simple people, honest people, but poor. And between them stands an obstacle more powerful than any army. Maruca Curse, the hero's son's mother, a wealthy widow, a ruthless landowner, a woman who would rather see her son dead than married to someone beneath their social station. And tonight, her curse is about to come true. Because as the lovers embrace for the last time, preparing to end their lives together in an act of desperate defiance, something dark awakens in that cemetery. Something that will haunt the region for the next 129 years. Something that still makes grown men refuse to enter those gates after midnight. Welcome back to another journey into Brazil's darkest folklore. Today we're investigating the Maruca Curse, one of the most terrifying cemetery legends in Rio Grande do Sul. This isn't just a ghost story. It's a documented tragedy that spawned supernatural phenomena so intense that an entire community has lived in fear for over a century. We're covering three interconnected legends. First, the forbidden love and the mother's curse, how social rigidity and a mother's hatred destroyed two young lives. Second, the tragic deaths, the night the couple died and what was found at the scene. Third, the midnight cemetery, why no one dares to enter after dark and what happens to those who try. Each legend reveals a darker truth about love, death, and the price of defying fate. So grab your mate tea, turn off the lights, and let's enter the cemetery. Because after midnight, the gates don't just close. They trap you inside. Let's start at the beginning, with the people, the love, and the curse that started it all. The year is 1820. The Ragamuffin War has ended. The Rio Grande do Sul region is still recovering from a decade of brutal conflict. Among the veterans returning home is a young man, a hero, someone who fought alongside Bento Gonçalves himself, the revolutionary leader who challenged the Brazilian Empire. This young man is the only son of Maruca Curse, a widow who built an empire of land and cattle through sheer will and ruthless business practices. Maruca is not just wealthy, she's powerful, feared, respected. She rules her estancia with an iron fist, and she has plans for her son, grand plans. Marriage to a wealthy family, political alliances, expansion of their empire, but the hero's son has other plans. He's fallen in love with a girl from the Barbosa family. The Barbosas are simple people, small landholders, honest workers, good Catholics, but poor, very poor. And in the rigid social hierarchy of 19th century Rio Grande do Sul, this is unforgivable. When Maruca discovers her son's relationship, she explodes with rage. She forbids him from seeing the girl. She threatens to disown him. She uses every weapon in her arsenal, money, social pressure, family honor to break them apart. But love doesn't obey orders. The couple continues to meet in secret, in fields, by rivers, in abandoned chapels, away from Maruca's spying eyes. And the more Maruca tries to control her son, the more he pulls away. Until one night, he decides to go to a fandango, a traditional gaucho dance. He's going to see his love. He's going to dance with her, in public, declaring their relationship to the entire community. This is open defiance, social revolution, a direct challenge to his mother's authority. As he prepares to leave, dressed in his finest gaucho attire, bombachas, boots, poncho, Maruca confronts him one final time. The argument is fierce. Voices echo through the estancia. Servants hide. Slaves tremble. And then Maruca says it. The words that will haunt her for the rest of her life. I would rather see you dead between 4 candles than married to that whore. A mother's curse, spoken in rage, fueled by pride, sealed by hatred. The hero's son stares at his mother, hurt, angry, defiant. He says nothing. He simply turns, mounts his horse, and rides into the night. Toward the fandango, toward his love, toward his doom. The fandango is everything he hoped for: music, dancing, joy. And most importantly, his love is there. They dance together. They laugh together. They make plans together. Plans to run away. Plans to marry in secret. Plans for a life free from Maruca's control. As the night ends, the couple says goodbye. One more week, they agree. One more week, and they'll leave forever. The hero's son rides home. It's late, past midnight. The moon is hidden behind clouds. The pampa is dark, silent, ominous. And then it happens. From the darkness, a shape launches itself at the horse. A puma, a mountain lion, massive, ferocious, hungry. The horse rears. The hero's son tries to control it, but the puma's claws sink into the horse's flank. Blood sprays. The horse screams, bucks, throws its rider. The hero's son hits the ground hard, stunned, disoriented. The puma circles, eyes glowing in the darkness, moving in for the kill. He tries to reach for his knife, but his body won't respond. The fall has broken something. Maybe his back, maybe his neck. He can't move, can only watch as death approaches. The puma pounces, and then, darkness. Hours later, the horse returns to the estancia, alone, covered in blood, panicking, screaming. Maruca sees it, and she knows. Her curse has come true. They find him at dawn, lying in the pampa, exactly where he fell, dead, torn by the puma's claws. But strangely, his face is peaceful, almost serene, as if he accepted his fate. Maruca arrives at the scene. The servants expect grief, tears, remorse. Instead, she's cold, calculating. She looks at her son's body and makes a decision. A terrible decision. "Bury him here," she orders. "Right here, where he fell." The servants are shocked. This is wrong, against tradition, against religion. Catholics must be buried in consecrated ground, in a cemetery with proper rites. But Maruca insists. "He disobeyed me. He defied me. He chose that girl over his family. So let him rot where he fell. Let the earth be his grave." They dig a shallow grave, right there, in the middle of the pampa. They lower his body. No priest, no prayers, no ceremony. Just earth-covering flesh, an unmarked grave, a forgotten son, a mother's final punishment. But the story doesn't end there, because the Barbosa girl, his love, discovers what happened. She learns of his death. She learns where he's buried, and she refuses to accept it. Every single day she walks to that unmarked grave, miles through the pampa, alone, carrying flowers. She kneels, she prays, she cries, she talks to him, promises they'll be together again soon. The community watches, some with pity, some with admiration, some with fear, because they know what's coming. She's wasting away, literally dying of grief. Her family tries to stop her, to make her eat, to make her rest, but she refuses. "I'll be with him soon," she says. "Just a little longer." 3 months after the hero's son's death, she collapses at his grave. Her heart simply stops. Some say it was a broken heart. Others say it was starvation. A few whisper it was suicide, that she took poison. But the result is the same. She dies, right there, on top of his unmarked grave, and the community, moved by the tragedy, decides to bury her beside him, right there, in the pampa, creating the first graves of what will become the Barbosa Cemetery. But something is wrong. From the very first night after her burial, strange things begin to happen. People traveling near the graves at night report seeing lights, floating, dancing, moving in patterns that make no sense. They hear voices, a man and a woman, talking, laughing, crying, sometimes all at once. They hear music, fandango music, accordion, guitar, drums, playing in the middle of nowhere. And they see figures, two young people, dancing, spinning, holding each other, on top of the graves. One witness, a traveling merchant, rides past at midnight. He sees the couple dancing. He stops, mesmerized. The woman turns, looks directly at him, and speaks. "Tell them we're together now. Tell them love is stronger than death. Tell them—" And then she smiles, a sad, haunting smile. "Tell them to never come here after midnight, because this place is ours now, forever." The merchant flees, terrified, but he spreads the word, the warning. As years pass, the Barbosa family decides to create a proper cemetery around the lovers' graves. It becomes the family burial ground, then the community cemetery. Eventually, it's known simply as the Barbosa Cemetery. But the warnings remain. Never enter after midnight. Never disturb the lovers. Never try to move their graves. Because those who break these rules face consequences. In 1847, a group of young men, drunk and boastful, decide to prove the legend is false. They're going to spend the night in the cemetery, after midnight, right on top of the lovers' graves. They bring bottles of wine, candles, playing cards. They're going to party in the cemetery, mock the dead, show everyone there's nothing to fear. They enter at 11:30 p.m., set up near the original graves, light their candles, open their wine. At first, nothing happens. They laugh, make jokes, call out to the spirits, challenging them to appear. Midnight arrives. The candles flicker, once, twice, then extinguish, all of them, simultaneously. In the darkness, they hear it, breathing, close, all around them, getting closer. They try to relight the candles. Their hands shake. Matches won't stay lit. And then they hear the voice. A woman's voice, soft, sad, furious. "You shouldn't be here." One of the men screams, runs. The others follow, scrambling, panicking, abandoning everything in their terror to escape. They don't stop running until they reach town. When people go to investigate the next morning, they find the wine bottles, the cards, the candles, all arranged in a perfect circle, as if someone carefully organized them. But the men swear they abandoned everything in chaos, left it scattered as they fled. Someone, or something, rearranged it all. In 1873, a wealthy family from a neighboring town loses a patriarch. They want to bury him in the Barbosa Cemetery because of family connections. But there's a problem. The only available space is near the lovers' graves. The family isn't superstitious. They don't believe in curses. They arrange the burial. The funeral is held during the day. Everything is normal. The body is interred. The family leaves. But that night, something happens. The grave diggers, who were supposed to finish filling the grave the next morning, arrive to find it already filled. Completely, as if it had never been dug. But more disturbing, the earth on top is packed hard, like it's been there for decades. Not just filled in overnight, they dig again, carefully, nervously, and they find nothing. No coffin, no body, nothing but undisturbed earth. Panicking, they dig wider, deeper, and finally they find the coffin. But it's not where they left it. It's been moved, 10 feet away, buried at a different angle, as if something physically relocated it during the night. Away from the lovers' graves, the family is informed. They're horrified. Some demand an investigation. Others quietly agree to rebury the patriarch elsewhere. Because the message is clear. The lovers don't want neighbors. They want their space, their eternal privacy. By 1895, the Barbosa Cemetery has a reputation, a dark reputation. It's used for burials during the day, but after sunset, it's abandoned, empty, silent. Locals have rules. Never visit after dark, never walk past the cemetery alone at night, never ever enter after midnight. because that's when they appear, the lovers, still dancing, still together, still claiming their territory. But the phenomenon isn't just visual, it's physical. People who live near the cemetery report strange occurrences, objects moving in their homes, doors opening, windows slamming, always at midnight, always facing the cemetery. Some families move away, others simply accept it, part of living near the cursed grounds. In 1912, the town of São José do Ouro is officially founded. The Barbosa Cemetery becomes part of the new municipality. Church officials want to bless it, sanctify it properly, perform an exorcism if necessary. A priest arrives, Father Sebastião. He's experienced with hauntings, performed dozens of exorcisms, blessed countless troubled locations. He's confident he can solve this. He arrives on a Tuesday afternoon, studies the cemetery, identifies the lovers' graves. They're old now, weathered, but still distinct, marked with simple wooden crosses. Father Sebastião prepares. Holy water, blessed salt, sacred texts, crucifixes. He begins the blessing at sunset, walking the perimeter, sprinkling holy water, reciting prayers. Everything seems fine, normal, peaceful. As midnight approaches, he positions himself directly between the lovers' graves. This is the center of the disturbance, the source. He begins the exorcism rite, calling out to any spirits, demanding they depart, commanding them in the name of God to leave. Nothing happens. The priest continues, his voice growing louder, more forceful, more commanding. And then he hears it. Laughter, soft, sad, not mocking, just tired. A woman's voice speaks, not threatening, not angry, just firm. Father, we mean no harm. We only want to be together. We only want peace. We only want people to respect our rest. The priest hesitates. This isn't possession. This isn't demonic. This is something else. Then why do you frighten people? He asks. Why the appearances, the manifestations? We don't frighten anyone, the voice responds. We only frighten those who don't respect the dead, those who come here with disrespect, with mockery, with greed. Greed? There are those who think we were buried with valuables, who think this cemetery hides treasure, who want to dig up our graves. We only protect ourselves. We only ask for peace. Father Sebastião considers this. It's not evil. It's not demonic. It's defensive, protective. He makes a decision. Then I won't exorcise you, he says, but you must promise. No harm to the innocent. No fear to those who respect this place. Only guard yourselves. Only appear to those who deserve warning. There's silence. Then a whisper. We promise. Father Sebastião completes a different ritual. Not exorcism, consecration. He blesses the lovers' graves, sanctifies their eternal union, recognizes their love as holy, and he establishes the rules. The cemetery is consecrated ground, but the lovers' area is sacred, private. Those who respect it will be protected. Those who violate it will be warned. Those who persist will be dealt with. From that day forward, the manifestations change. They're no longer random. They're purposeful, deliberate, protective. People who enter the cemetery with respect, to visit loved ones, to pray, to remember, they experience nothing strange. The cemetery is peaceful, calm, normal. But those who enter with ill intent, with disrespect, with plans to disturb the graves or mock the dead, they encounter the lovers, and the encounters are terrifying. In 1937, a group of teenagers decides to have a seance in the cemetery at midnight on Halloween. They're trying to contact the lovers, force them to appear, prove they're real. They set up candles, Ouija board, circle of salt, all the dramatic theatrical elements. They begin chanting, asking questions, waiting for responses. At first, nothing. Then the Ouija board's planchette moves, slowly spelling out words. L-E-A-V-E, N-O-W. The teenagers laugh. Someone's pushing it. Someone's faking. They continue. The planchette moves faster, more urgent. Dangerleave. One of the girls feels it. A sudden cold, bone-deep, paralyzing. She looks up, and she sees them, the lovers, standing at the edge of their circle, looking at them. Not angry, not threatening, just sad, disappointed. The woman speaks. You play with forces you don't understand. You mock what you cannot comprehend. Go home, before something worse than us arrives. Something worse? One boy asks, his bravado crumbling. The lovers exchange glances. The man speaks for the first time in anyone's memory. We protect this place, but we are not the only spirits here. Some are not as patient, not as kind. Leave, now. The teenagers flee, leaving everything behind. When people investigate the next day, the seance materials are destroyed, burned, melted, scattered, as if something consumed them with fire or fury. The teenagers never speak of that night again, not in detail. They all agree on one thing, though. The lovers saved them, warned them, protected them from something darker, something they glimpsed in the shadows beyond the circle. Modern times haven't diminished the legend. If anything, it's grown stronger. In 1978, the Barbosa Cemetery made news when a security guard from the nearby railway station decided to investigate the reports of a werewolf. Yes, a werewolf. Because by the 1970s, the legend had evolved. People reported seeing a creature, half man, half beast, jumping from the cemetery walls, attacking late-night travelers. The guard, skeptical and brave, decided to watch the cemetery all night, armed with a rifle, ready to prove it was just an animal, or a prankster. At midnight, he heard it. A howl. Long. Mournful. Not quite wolf, not quite human. Then he saw it. A figure. Crouched on the cemetery wall, silhouetted against the moon. It jumped down, ran across the road. The guard fired. 3 shots. The figure disappeared into shadows. The next morning, there's no blood, no tracks, no evidence. But the guard swears it was real. Some locals believe the werewolf is connected to the lover's curse, a new manifestation, an evolution of their protective power. Others think it's something else, another spirit, another tragedy, another curse layered on top of the first. In 2003, a television crew from Porto Alegre decides to investigate. They bring cameras, night vision equipment, EMF detectors, all the modern ghost hunting technology. They enter the cemetery at 10 p.m., set up equipment around the lovers' graves, begin recording. For 2 hours, nothing happens. Boring, uneventful. The crew is disappointed. At 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes before midnight, all their equipment fails. Simultaneously, cameras shut off. Night vision goes dark. EMF detectors flatline. Even their flashlights die. In the total darkness, they hear it. Footsteps. 2 sets. Walking toward them. Getting closer. Closer. One crew member turns on a backup camera. The only equipment still working. In the viewfinder, he sees them, the lovers, walking hand in hand, directly toward the crew. They stop, just feet away. The woman speaks, not angry, just firm. You may film, you may record, but you may not disrespect, you may not mock, and you must leave before midnight ends. The camera captures this, records it. The crew agrees, terrified but respectful. At 12:01 a.m., their equipment comes back on, all at once, as if nothing happened. The footage is reviewed later. Everything is there. The manifestation, the warning, the spirits, it airs on television, causes controversy. Skeptics claim it's fake, believers say it's proof, but the crew knows the truth. It happened, and they never went back. Today, in 2024, the Barbosa Cemetery still stands, still functions, still buries the dead. But the rules haven't changed. Respect the dead. Don't enter after midnight. don't disturb the lovers' graves. And if you see them dancing, if you hear their music, if you witness their eternal love, don't interrupt. Don't mock. Don't try to capture it. Just watch, respect, and leave quietly. Because Maruca's curse didn't just kill her son, it bound him to this earth, forever dancing with his forbidden love, forever protecting their sacred space, forever warning those who don't respect the boundary between life and death. So what's the truth? Did Maruca's curse really bind their spirits? Are the lovers actually haunting the cemetery? Or is it collective belief, cultural memory, a community keeping a tragic story alive through supernatural attribution? Maybe it doesn't matter. Because whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Barbosa Cemetery has rules, and those who break them face consequences. Real, documented, witnessed consequences. So if you ever visit Rio Grande do Sul, if you ever find yourself near the Barbosa Cemetery, remember this. You can visit during the day. You can pay respects. You can honor the dead. But when midnight approaches, leave. Don't test the curse. Don't challenge the lovers. Don't disturb their eternal dance. Because some loves are so powerful, so defiant, so absolute, that not even death can end them. And Maruca's curse, meant to destroy love, instead made it eternal, made it supernatural, made it legend. If you survived this journey into forbidden love and supernatural vengeance, hit that like button and subscribe. Share this with someone who needs to understand that some places demand respect.